that likes not the book should like the excellent picture of the trout and some of the other fish, which I may take a liberty to commend, because they concern not myself. Next let me tell the reader that in that which is the more useful part of this discourse, that is to say, the observations of the nature and breeding and seasons and catching of fish, I am not so simple as not to know that a captious reader may find exceptions against something said of some of these, and therefore I must entreat him to consider that experience teaches us to know that several countries alter the time, and I think almost the manner of fishes breeding, but doubtless of their being in season, as may appear by 3 rivers in Monmouthshire, namely Severn, Wye, and Usk, where Camden observes that in the River Wye salmon are in season from September to April, and we are certain that in Thames and Trent and in most other rivers they be in season the 6 hotter months. Now, for the art of catching fish, that is to say, how to make a man that was none to be an angler by a book. He that undertakes it shall undertake a harder task than Mr. Hales, a most valiant and excellent fencer, who in a printed book called A Private School of Defense undertook to teach that art or science, and was laughed at for his labor. Not but that many useful things might be learnt by that book, but he was laughed at because that art was not to be taught by words, but practice. And so must angling. And note also that in this discourse I do not undertake to say all that is known, or may be said of it, but I undertake to acquaint the reader with many things that are not usually known to every angler. And I shall leave gleanings and observations enough to be made out of the experience of all that love and practice this recreation, to which I shall encourage them. For angling may be said to be much like the mathematics, that it can never be fully learned, at least not so fully, but that there will still be more new experiments left for the trial of other men that succeed us. But I think all that love this game may here learn something that may be worth their money, if they be not poor and needy men. And in case they be, I then wish them to forbear to buy it, for I write not to get money, but for pleasure. And this discourse boasts of no more, for I hate to promise much and deceive the reader. And however it proves to him, yet I am sure I have found a high content in the search and conference of what is here offered to the reader's view and censure. I wish him as much in the perusal of it, and so I might here take my leave, but will stay a little, and tell him that whereas it is said by many that in fly fishing for a trout the angler must observe his 12 several flies for the 12 months of the year, I say he that follows that rule shall be as sure to catch a fish, and be as wise, as he that makes hay by the fair days in an almanac, and no surer. For those very flies that used to appear about and on the water in 1 month of the year may the following year come almost a month sooner or later, as the same year proves colder or hotter. And yet in the following discourse I have set down the 12 flies that are in reputation with many anglers, and they may serve to give him some observations concerning them. And he may note that there are in Wales and other countries peculiar flies, proper to the particular place or country, and doubtless, unless a man makes a fly to counterfeit that very fly in that place, he is like to lose his labor, or much of it. But for the generality, 3 or 4 flies, neat and rightly made and not too large, serve for a trout in most rivers all the summer. And for winter fly fishing, it is as useful as an almanac out of date. And of these, because as no man is born an artist, so no man is born an angler, I thought fit to give you this notice. When I have told the reader that in this 5th impression there are many enlargements, gathered both by my own observation and the communication with friends, I shall stay him no longer than to wish him a rainy evening to read this following discourse, and that if he be an honest angler, the east wind may never blow when he goes a-fishing. Izaak Walton.